So read the first sloka and then the sloka 4.
We'll do together. Sadaji, together. We shall chant the invocation together. Yata sarvani bhutani together pratibhanti stitani cha yatraivopashamam yanti tasmai satyatmane namaha.
So start 4.
Yadidam drishyate sarvam
Yadidam drusyate sarvam
jagat stavara jangamam
Jagasthavara jangamam
tat shushupta vivaswapnaha
Tat sushupta vivaswapnaha
kalpante pravinashyati.
Kalpam te pravinasyati.
Together. Yadidam drishyate sarvam jagat stavara jangamam tat sushupta vivaswapnaha kalpante pravinashyati.
So here we analyze whatever I see, Jagat, the whole world, and that which came from the original Sat Chitananda, because the very first sloka of the invocation started with that. Now, how it goes back again into it is being explained now. So, it is impermanent because it starts raising from the consciousness or existent consciousness, sustained by it, and it goes back into it, and it's called pralayam. So we have laya and pralaya. Laya is at the individual level, pralaya is at the global level. So laya is what you do every day in the morning, every day in the night. So when I go to sleep, I have a waking world going now folded into dream world. So dream world can be contradictory to the waking world because you can see things, because you can project anything that you can have elephants with different heads and all that. And for the dreamer, that is not contradiction because for him that is real. So what is the driving force for the dream? Driving force for the dream is the suppressions and oppressions of the waking state. So that's one you are projecting in the dream. So those are the vasanas, what we call vasanas, are the one that becomes a seed for the projection of using the mind for projection or creating the world. And when the dream goes, you have a deep sleep state, then what happens? You started with the waking world, and you have a different dream world. You are there in the waking world, you are there in the dream world. You are experiencing in the waking world, and you are experiencing in the dream world. Even though the worlds are contradictory, you have a 5-course dinner and air-conditioned room and all that I gave example, and lying down, whereas in the dream world you are in the forest running around starving for so many years and all that. So you can have contradictory experience. So this is what Janaka asked. Janaka asked question to Ashtavakra Gita, this is Ashtavakra Gita also, where Ashtavakra teaches Janaka. He dreamt and suddenly he felt as a king, Janaka is king, right? So he dreamt that he was really a pauper starving in the forest or something. So when he got up, he had a doubt. Am I a king or which is real? Am I a king and all this kingdom is real? Or I was a pauper where everything was real? Which one is real? Because at that time everything looked real. So what is really real? So he wanted to know. And Ashtavakra says, neither one is real. What is real? The one that remaining the same as real, because changing things are changing. Changing things cannot be real. It's only transactionally real. So what is changeless in the changing things? You are. Because you are the one who is experiencing the whole waking world, but the same you experiencing in the dream world with a different body or some other body, same body. But you are experiencer, that you are remaining the same in the waking state, in the dream state. Then what happens in the deep sleep state? Both worlds got inside. There is no world. So that's what he's trying to point out. Yadidam drusyate sarvam. This idam, this whatever that I am seeing, idam, the whole universe that I can point out, drusyate, that is being seen, sarvam, everything, jagat stavara jangamam, that whole universe, Jagat, that involves Stavaram and Jangamam, that means that is stable and movable. So everything is classified as two, only Stavaram, and things that are movable and these things are immovable. And that's Sushupta viva swapnaha kalpante pravinasyati. That all that, Sushupta iva swapnaha. Just as when I go from a dream state, where there is a world of plurality is there are beings which are different from me, Stavaram, Jangamam, everything is there, that is movable, immovable. When I go to deep sleep state, all that is folded, because in the deep sleep state, nothing is there. What is there is nothing. Right? Nothing is there. Nothing means no thing is there, existence is there. So what is there is pure existence alone was there. Because I was existing. But I am not conscious of my existence. But I am conscious of non-existence. Because I don't know anything. But I cannot report it to whom? Because the mind is not there to communicate. For mind, I had to know. Do I know that I am ignorant in my deep sleep state? If you ask, what do you know about deep sleep? I don't know anything. What did you do? I don't know. Where were you? I don't know. All I can say is I don't know. That's all we have knowledge of our deep sleep state. But we have a knowledge of I don't know. Why? When I went to a pitch dark room and say, hey, can you see something there? I don't know. I can't see anything. Is there a chair there? I don't know. It's too dark. Chair may be there, may not be there. I cannot tell. What do you see here? I cannot see anything. Right? Can you see it's dark? Oh, let me turn the light on. Let me see if I can see dark or not. I cannot turn light on to see, because I need a light to see every object. But what light I need to see darkness? Is darkness a positive perception, or is the absence of light only? These are the questions that are very interesting. Because the same darkness is called tamaha, is ignorance also. Do I know my ignorance? Same thing. This is a statement called abhava. Logic is it real or not real for me to see? Or is it just absence of knowledge is called ignorance? According to our philosophy, ignorance is covering the knowledge. Knowledge is real, ignorance is covering. So knowledge is always there. But ignorance I had to discover, remove the cover. In order for me to find out, I had to discover. Discover means removing the cover. Removing the cover, then it reveals itself. So scientist discovers. He removes the cover by proper means. Means is required to discover. For seeing things, I need to throw light so that I can discover there is a chair there. Right? So if I apply the same in the deep sleep state, what is there? I cannot tell. So the problem becomes an indeterminate problem. In a mathematical course, indeterminate problem. I cannot tell it is there or it is not there because I cannot know. Why? The means of knowledge is not available. Not that it's not there. I am there and that is there, but pramana is not there. Pramana means a means of knowledge. What is not there? The mind itself is folded. So I need the mind to know the things. Remember, mind is one that is reflecting the consciousness and all that. All that is interrelated here. So because the mind is folded, but in its folding, it's only existing as the basic part, what is called sukshmam, in a very subtle form. And I'm still going through the experience of the deep sleep state, because when I get up in the morning, I say, I slept very well. Who slept very well? I was there to sleep very well, right? So my existence was there. But why didn't you tell me at that time that you were there? I need a mind to tell you. So without the mind, I cannot transact in the world. So mind itself gets folded, but what is folded? Along with the mind, all the knowledge also gets folded. Not only the knowledge, even the ignorance also gets folded. Because in the deep sleep state, I do not know that I am even ignorant. For that also I need a mind. Because I may not know chemistry, but in the deep sleep state, my ignorance of chemistry is also I don't know. Right? Only when I get up in the morning, I say I don't know chemistry. Means I am conscious of my ignorance of chemistry also. For that I need a mind. But absence of mind is not necessarily absence of either myself or the Jagat. What happened to the whole world? I don't know. I cannot tell. It is in a form that I cannot perceive. And that what scripture says, it as though entered into me as the pure existence, because everything exists, not in a particular forms, because in particular forms I need a senses to see. My senses are not working, my mind is not working. So everything is in a subtle form as though it has gone into me. Not that it is absent. Just because I slept doesn't mean that I may be knowing chemistry. That chemistry knowledge doesn't disappear. When I get up in the morning, all that comes back. Because just mind folded in a subtle form. Follow now? All my likes and dislikes are folded in my laya. That's called layam. Layam is in the deep sleep state. So nothing is lost and nothing is gained in the process. All it is absence of mind itself is relaxation, and itself is absence of duality. Now where the duality is coming from? With the mind. In the mind itself splits into two. One is the subject I, and this is an object vritti as a thought. That's also in the mind. That's why mind is called a platform on which the thoughts flow. In what direction they flow is vasanas. All are interlinked in the process. So when from a waking state and a dream state, and when I go to a deep sleep state, the whole universe of the dream also goes into in a subtler form. So the whole waking world goes into dream world goes into deep sleep state. All worlds went into more subtler state, and that's exactly what happens when the total mind goes to sleep. Now, you remember local mind and the total mind relationship now? Just as the waking mind is a total mind for the dream, in the same way, this waking mind, we have my mind, your mind, this mind, that mind, everything mind. But there is a total mind which is called Hiranyagarbha, and that is the total mind. And so if Brahmaji goes to sleep, he also gets up in the morning and goes. So that's what our scriptures talks in the same, that's called, says, Kalpante. Just like in the Kalpante, that's what one Kalpam, so many yugas and all that become, just like every day we go through a day, Brahmaji also goes through a day. And then he also gets tired and he has to sleep. And that's what is called pralayam. Pralayam is, he also goes to sleep. When he gets up, the whole creation starts. How does it start? Just as when you get up, what happened? You say, I am already late, I had to rush to the office, right? So all knowledge of that, whatever is previously is projected back again as that it was left before. In the same way, after the kalpa, when the Brahmaji gets up in the morning, the whole creation starts again all over the place. It is a model that's provided just as our own experiences itself. Is that really true? Brahmaji goes to sleep. If you can believe that I am a dreamer and with a dream mind, which is different from a waking mind, which is a total mind, which is creating all that, if you can understand that, it's the same process that's why scripture tells so. Who is going to tell that? Who is going to tell? The Brahmaji that say we cannot meet him because we have to get up for that, right? Wake up in the air-conditioned room to know what is the total mind. So we can't do that. Only way to do it is scripture becomes a pramana for us to tell. Who tells that there is a heaven, hell and all that? Oh, I don't believe in scriptures. Don't believe. No one asks you to believe. Only if you say, you want to know what it is, this is what it tells you. Remember my gravitational force law? Physicist, I don't have to go to tell knocking people's door to ask them to believe in the Newton's laws. I don't have to tell. If you come, I'll tell you how to explain how to understand that. So student has to go and ask how is it, then he will explain based on the scriptures. And here he's giving us not only the creation, but how the annihilation process also occurs. And it's just like you going to sleep. Alaya and pralaya are identical. Someone asked me, is it really Pitruloka or this loka, that loka? How do we believe in that? So if you have this loka, then other loka has to be there, because if you can dream and create a new creation, and you have, this body is gone, the air-conditioned body, everything, but you are able to create another body in your own, in the dream, and transact there, assuming that it is really real, even though it is just the mind. But that's for a dreamer, that's real. That's a real world. In the same way, all lokas are for the experience of the mind, it is real. And for that only, scripture becomes a means of knowledge, pramana. It is apaurusheyam, that is because it's beyond our purusha understanding of the mind. That's why it's apaurusheyam. Okay? That's beyond the human limitations. And for that only, so for that faith is required. Faith is required for any knowledge, not only that. Don't think that Vedas only we need faith and we need, faith is different from belief. Faith is, that is foundation for which you proceed further. Just as a scientist he makes a hypothesis, says this is going to be the truth, I want to investigate. So he has a faith to pursue that, and if he finds that's not the truth, he will change his hypothesis. But he has to have a faith to pursue, because he is getting into unknown in order to discover. And the same way, I had to have some faith. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Krishna himself emphasizes, you need to have the shraddha in order to gain any knowledge. Jnanam, he didn't specify which jnanam. Every knowledge requires some kind of faith that the teacher is what he's teaching. Physics teacher is teaching me the truth. I should have the faith that what he's telling is the truth. Otherwise, I cannot learn from him. And that becomes a basis for that. So why do we need a teacher? If I need a teacher to play tennis, they call coach, right? For anything we need a coach. Table tennis, you need a coach. For everything, you need a coach. For Excel, everything you need. For getting a master's degree, you need a guide. They won't allow you to do yourself. For doing PhD, you need a guide. If you need a guide for these objective sciences, what about the subjective science, which is beyond all these things which are apaurusheyam? You need someone to interpret properly. So that's why life teacher is essential. That's what the scripture tells you. That's why tad vijnanartham sa gurum eva abhigachet. You go to a teacher who can communicate directly, not through CDs or all that, communicate directly. That kind of teacher is required. So here, the absence of it is not abolition of that. It's only going into a subtler form, and all that world that you see goes back into sushupti, just like the waking state is going into sushupti, it's going into a subtler form, and that's called kalpante pravisishyati. On the end of kalpa, there will be pralayam, and the pralayam is essentially the whole universe goes back, and again it comes back. And when it comes back, how does it come back? Again scripture starts. Tada itchada bahusyam prada eti. It saw, suddenly got up, it saw, and let me become many. What was the motivation force? That was the previous vasanas are motivating him to project in particular way. Because leftover things that's the one that is providing the driving force. And it is exactly identical to my getting up from this sleep also. Okay, next.
Tatastimita gambiram
Tadastimita gambhiram
natejo natamastatam
natejo natamastatam
anakyamana vivyaktam
anakyamana bhivyaktam
satkinchid avasishyate.
satkinchit avasishyati.
Together. Tatastimita gambhiram natejo natamastatam anakyamana vivyaktam satkinchid.
Avasishyate. Now, we are now going beyond all these things now. Kalpa, all those things we have explained in terms of how the world came, how it is sustained, how it goes back. Now, what is the nature of the truth, absolute reality? I want to know. Now we are now going from normal transactional things. Now we want to know exactly what is the nature of the absolute truth. How am I going to know? So here he's giving some words here. Tatastimita gambhiram natejo natamastatam. It's neither light. So I say consciousness is the light of consciousness. We said right now. Just now we gave all the examples. So you say, I am seeing when I go into meditation, I am seeing all sorts of lights. Is that what Brahman is? Someone asked me actually. So are you seeing? Yes. You are seeing some lights there? Yes. That means seen is different from a seer? Yes. There is a duality already. So it is that which is undifferentiated. You cannot say it is this or you cannot say that it is that. No description of words can be possible. Yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. It's also yato vaso nivartante aprapya manasasa. I quoted a different one. They all start to say yato vaso nivartante aprapya manasasaha. That's what Upanishad says. That's why Upanishad, right? Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. That state where vak, speech, cannot speak of. It comes back. Along with the mind. Mind cannot also tell. So yan manasa na manute, that wise mind cannot think of, it is this kind, it is that kind, it is all those things. So it is not that which mind can be thought of, but mind can only think of some objects. It's not an object. So it cannot conceptualize. I cannot have, it is of this kind, it is not of lights. Lights you can see, becomes an object. It's not an object. Anything that you see cannot be that, because anything that you see is an object. But that because of which you can see. Scripture doesn't tell you that it's nothing you cannot say. It's not sunyam. It's not absence of everything. It is very presence because of which is sthimita gambhiram. It is so deep you cannot tell anything. No words can tell, but it is there. It is something that you can only experience yourself as that is. And it's not an experience like a normal experience. I say, I know every Upanishad. I know all I have to do is now, I need experience of Brahman now. So like ring going to say, I want to experience gold now. I have heard everything, gold is everything, all ornament. Now I want to experience gold. What do you want to do? I want to meditate now. No, it is understanding that everything is that. That has to be clear in our mind, where while looking at it, I have to understand. But what it says, it is that then don't look for some concept. Don't look for ideas. Hey, it is this again. Those who understand it don't understand it. That's what it said. Not my statement, that's Upanishad statement. That's from the Kena Upanishad actually. Because those who understand it, they are conceptualizing it. It's not a concept. Because again, it's an objectification. So this becomes a bigger problem in the Vedanta for Brahman realization, because we are objectifying the Brahman. Now I am able to say it. That means you have lost it. Then how do I know? That's exactly what needs to be understood. It says here, tatastimita gambhiram. It is extremely deep. I mean, gambhiram means there is no differentiation of any kind there. Either ne tejaha na tamas. Because the tejaha is light and darkness, they themselves are opposite to each other. Right? One is a light, when there is a darkness. When there is a darkness, there cannot be light. When there is no light, only it's darkness. So those are already opposite. That becomes a dvandva. But it's beyond all that. Beyond the light and beyond the darkness, beyond the ignorance, beyond the knowledge, beyond all words. Essentially, no word can describe that exactly what it is. But I can use the words to describe it, which cannot be described by words, provided the minds who are receiving that words understand. Follow now? Because the whole scripture says it cannot be described, but at the same time, pages and pages of scripture itself is there. Why is he describing that which cannot be described? It is describing the words is used by appropriately, that's why by a teacher to a student, where the student himself is prepared and the teacher himself is prepared so that the communication goes beyond the words itself. And most of the communication description is by negating what you think it is Brahman. Nirvikaro, Nikaro. All those words are, it says neither this, not that, it is that which everywhere at the same time, it is not what you think it is. Because whatever you think is only objects. Brahma Vedam, Amrutam Purastad, Brahma Paschat, Brahma Dakshanat, Uttarena. It is this side, that side, back, bore, everything up and down, everywhere. Now how come I don't see it? You cannot see it. Because whatever you see is Drishyam. Remember? Then how do I know? But if you tune your mind in the direction itself, then you will know. So, I just want to tell, because people get confused in terms of what exactly involved in the self-realization and all this, because a simple example that is given is if it's, suppose I have a completely pitch dark room, right? In the pitch dark room, when I entered, I cannot see. For me, I need a torchlight. So I use a torchlight to focus on each one, because it's a narrow torchlight, I have to focus on each object. So for me to focus that, I had to turn and the light on, and I get, remember all the process I mentioned and how perception takes place. All that process has to occur for me that they know this object is there, that object is there, that object is there. So the process that goes in the perceptual process, I see that object, existence of the object comes as existence as a thought in my mind, and my consciousness and the existence of the object go together to form knowledge of the existence of the object. Remember I gave this yesterday, if you remember. Now suppose in that room there's a candlelight, burning candlelight, but it's covered by a dark pot completely, so I cannot see. Don't tell me that, candlelight will go off, but it's not our purpose, but it is covered completely. So it's completely dark room. I cannot see the light because it's already covered. But I cannot see the pot also that is covering it because it's too dark. Follow? Now I use the torchlight to throw light and I can see the pot. To seeing the pot, I need a torchlight. So I remove the torchlight, then I see the candle. Now, should I put a torchlight to see the burning candle? Light doesn't need another light to see. As soon as I remove the pot, the light is already shining there, it reveals itself. So how does that, this is what essentially the jnanam is. Where my mind is clouded, all I need is a means to uncloud it. That's what is Vedanta does it. And self gets revealed itself because it is the light of consciousness. I don't need consciousness to throw light on the consciousness. Okay. So how does it occur? I need to have pramana, I need a means. No, means is only to remove the ignorance, discover. Remember, you have to remove the cover. There is a means for it. That is pramana is required. That is the Vedanta. What Vedanta does is removes the cover and it is self-revealing and self-effulgent, therefore it reveals itself to me. Oh, that is it. So it's not an experience like any other experience, but I need a process. It's called akhanda, akara vritti. The word is used in the Vedanta is called akhanda, akara vritti. It's constant reflection of that in every vritti. How do I uncover it? It's not real covering. Now, I gave an example of pot removing, but here I had to look at it through the objects, in and through the objects, remove the object content and look at the consciousness that is there. That is what uncovering is. In every thought, because it's not only in Vedantic thoughts, it's not only in when I'm thinking of God, God is there. No, in every thought He is there. That's why it's called Upadrashta Manta Cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. I am there in everything that you can't take. Without me, you can't even lift my hand. You lift your hand, blink your eyes. And translate, talk a word. It's like talking in, shouting in the scream of my tongue. I don't have tongue to speak. He's shouting at the top of a voice. So very fact that he's able to because he has a tongue. Right? So every knowledge that I'm taking, I had to discover that which is because akhanda akara vritti says basically that every thought contains this information because every knowledge has this information. But only I have to shift my attention from the object that is lifting the pot cover out, and then it gets revealed itself, then it's what is essentially involved in the realization process also. So how do I describe that? He says he's using it's neither light nor it is darkness that pervades. So anakhyam, abhivyaktam, I cannot give a name to it. So do you call it Advaita? Even that Advaita word drops out. Advaita means non-dual, it is not no dual. Even that word cannot be used there. Just be. Abhivyaktam, sat kinchid avasishyate. So there is nothing remains there as no object there because any object is crystallization of mithya only. But what is there is pure Sat existence, and that existent consciousness, you are becoming one, that is the knowledge itself. Okay, next.
Ritamatma param brahma
Rutamatma param brahma
satyamityadika budaihi
Satyamityadika budhai
kalpita vyavaharartam tasya sanya mahatmanah
Tasya sanya mahatmanah
Rutamatma param brahma satyamityadika budaihi kalpita vyavaharartham tasya sanya mahatmanah.
Then how do you describe this? How do you communicate this information? And it says, These several words are used to indicate that which cannot be indicated. This is called Lakshanam. Lakshanam is, it is trying to point out that direction, but I had to go beyond the words to see the reality. So you remember, you want to see the moon? Go look at that branch, yeah. Look at the between the two branches, yeah. Look at in the space between, yeah. Now go, look into that. Oh, that is moon there. I cannot take him to the moon, I cannot show moon, but this is an example where I used all other means that are available to turn the attention in the direction, then he has to leave himself, he has to do himself by that. So, here different words are used in the scriptures, Rutam, Atma, Param, Brahma, Satyam, Ityadi, Buddhaihi, Kalpita Vyavaharartham. So, tasya sanya mahatmanaha. Mahatmanaha, these great rishis in the Vedas, they have used different words to indicate the same truth. His names is only for really not description of that, but it's only for vyavaharartham, for teaching's sake, it is that. So therefore it is trying to point in that direction only. So therefore it is kalpita vyavaharartham. It is created in order to communicate. Because the knowledge has to be communicated. And in the Upanishad, it's a beautiful introduction. It says in the first few slokas, it says, we don't know how to teach. This is all I can tell you. What can I do? It is sotrasya sotram. You see, it is the eye of the eye, ear of the ear, mind of the mind. This is how he teaches. So, how does the mind see? It's the mind of the mind, ear of the ear, eyes of the eyes. That because of which eyes can see, that because of which mind can hear, mind can think, that because of which ears can hear. I don't understand. That's it. We don't know how else to teach. Because that's how we learn from our teacher. This is all said in the Upanishad itself. Because words are used to uplift the mind, you have to go in that direction to point out. There must be something because of which mind is operating. Mind is inert thing. So when you go to a doctor and says, is he alive? Yeah, he's alive. Why? Because he is breathing, he is doing this, he is doing all physiological functions, I say, therefore he is alive. Sir, tell me what is life? No doctor can describe what is life. He can say whether he is alive or not, but he doesn't know what his life is. But that because of which he is able to function all this, that is life. That's all I can tell, right? So what is life itself we cannot tell. So what science can tell? Science cannot tell anything to you. That's why scripture becomes its apaurushyam. Where I had to go to this, which is something beyond that can be describable, because no tools, because the tools themselves are within the vyavahara. I cannot use paramarthika, that is highest truth, using any of the vyavahara. Just as in the dream, there is a waking mind sleeping in the air-conditioned room. Fellow who is running in the forest says, why are you worried about? You are that waker who is sleeping in the waking. Say, forget about it. Let me first run away from this tiger that is chasing me. So, when I am in that, I need a proper frame of mind to see what is there beyond. And that is what is being pointed out. And therefore, the words are being used by the scriptures and the teachers, kalpitaha vyavaharartham, because the teaching is required. Student is confused. Teaching has to be done. That's why it has to be by Shravanam, teacher to the student, and there are words that are Rutam, Atma, Param, Brahma, Satyam, all these things are being used as indicators for that from the point of teaching only.
Satata bhuta evatma swayamanya ivollasan jivatam upayativa mananat stulatam gataha Satata bhuta evatma swayamanya ivollasan jivatam upayativa mananat sthulatam gatah.
Now, here is the clutch of the whole process here. He gave the whole thing, how it came and how it went back. All that is being described now. Now, I want to realize, now I am not in the layam or in the pralayam state. I am in the state where everything is projected now. Right? This is the state where the student is asking a question. So we are already in the waking state where the mind of the seeker is different from the mind of the teacher and also the whole world. This is the state. Because we are all in this state now. And we want to realize the truth. That truth which cannot be described. All the words are used, that's only for transactional purposes, he said. Now exactly how I am going to realize that? And here is a beautiful verse again, where it is trying to tell us that which cannot be told, but we can realize right now, right here, by using what is there. Okay? So how does it? Because satatha bhuta etatma swayam says, satatha bhutaha evam, that being the same consciousness, existent consciousness, says swayam, so as if anya, I am, that one itself became many, right? That's what it says. But also became many, and in the many also became a subject and an object. Remember, drashtur drusyasya. There is a seer and the seen. The duality already created in the world. It itself became two. Because one, which is gambhiram, which is all-pervading, which is one, has become two, both the subject and the object. That's what happens when the mind is. Whenever there is a mind, and I see an object, that is a part. That is an object. I know that is a part. There is a subject. So subject-object immediately comes as soon as the mind comes into picture. So all itself became, one mind became two right there. One mind became a subject and object. One is a consciousness that is reflecting, another is again the thought rising in that itself is getting reflected. Right? That's how I gave all the process to you. So subject-object distinctions are in the mind. If you go to anybody exposed to J. Krishnamurti and all that, so he asks you, observe your mind. Who is going to observe your mind? Is there some other mind has to observe this mind? You have a problem there. The mind has to observe the mind. And so, Ramana Maharshi says, drop your mind, mind gets dissolved. Who says drop your mind? Who knows that the mind is dropped? The mind has to say that mind has dropped. How can it be dropped? You get confused with all these ideas because the problem is where I got to see, using the mind, that I am not the mind. That is the problem. How? Where I, consciousness, reflected in the mind, and in that reflection, I am seeing the further reflection of the thoughts. In all that, I had to shift my attention. I am not the mind, I am not the thought, I am the light that is getting reflected all over. Follow? Using the mind only, because that's all the instrument I have. So, realization involves little subtle things here. That's why confusion comes because of the interpretations and all that way people interpret differently. Oh, I had to drop the mind. Ramana Maharshi is a beautiful teaching, but interpretation of Ramana Maharshi, if you read on some of the YouTubes, I keep responding to them, but I don't think anybody gets it because this is so subtle. And he says, Swayam itself became Anyam. So one itself became subject and object, duality, and Jivatam upayativa, manada stulada. All the gross objects, subtle objects, everything became, all those pluralities coming because of the mind. The mind is there is no world. Oh, other people's mind has to be there. Some mind has to be there to see the world. So how do you know whether the mind, if no mind is there, how do you know? Because when all the science will say the creation came, all the bang came, occurred. At that time there is no mind, right? So how do you know the bang occurred? Only mind is extrapolating all these things. So all this deductive or inductive research, all those explanations, for that also we need a mind. And now using the same mind, I had to understand I am not really the mind, but I can use my mind to know that I am not the mind. That's exactly what is required. So essentially, jivitam upayativa mananas thulatam gatihi. All things have become now, creation has become. Now I cannot say what is beyond the creation, because right now there is a creation. I cannot think of what happens when the kala. It's only an explanation for you what happened when the pralayam, kalayam. But I don't need to go to that state in order for me to understand. I need to understand what is given right now. With this what I have, I need to understand the truth. So that's why you remember I gave example of this glass. Using the glass there is an existence, and using the glass form and still think that there is a glass there, existence is there in the form of a glass. That becomes an understanding. Oh, I don't need a glass. It's not a glass. It is existence itself in the glass form. Just as looking at the ring, it is a gold only in the ring form. So I had to understand what is given, because without that I cannot see, or we cannot think. Mind cannot think without objects. So I had to use the mind. Manayeva means I had to use the mind to know. So how do I know? Mind can only know thoughts and objects and all that. So I had to do vichara, inquiry, using the mind, following this analysis, and look at it. It's not the thought, it is that because of which thought is known. I am conscious of the thought. That consciousness, because everybody says I am conscious. Nobody says I am the mind, I am conscious. That means I am consciousness. Everybody understands it. But when you apply it, you miss it. So when I say I am consciousness, because of which I am conscious of even the mind also. Right? I am very disturbed. Who says? My mind is disturbed. And how do you know your mind is disturbed? Because I know. That means it is an object of my knowledge. So the modifications of the mind, people change their mind very easily. A lot of people registered and they change their mind. Yesterday, because they provided so much, I said next time what you should do is you charge a registration fee which will be returned if you attend. Because people ordered food and all that, and it's a lot of waste of money. In Upanishad, in Taittiriya Upanishad, it says, if you waste any food, that's a sin. But if somebody forces you on your plate, if you waste it, it's not your sin, it is their sin. You have to be careful. So, don't force anybody to eat something. If you take it, and I have one cousin, he's very, very so strict, it's very difficult to go to his house. He says, he brought up in our house actually. My father is so strict, and all his strictness, he got it. We didn't get it, but he got it. And when we went first time, I think my wife also started worried about it. He says, lot of varieties are there, but don't take it unless you are going to eat it. And if you take it into your place, I don't want even throw one piece. You have to eat everything. My God, I don't know that I'm going to eat or not. Your real problem. But he was following Taittiriya Upanishad. So, I had to tell his story. He is so strict. So he was an engineer. He was a big engineer also. And he had to go to some camp. And he told, my wife also said, I will come also because the camp and I need something, you won't be able to cook and I will come also. He said, okay, 8 o'clock we are leaving. And 8 o'clock, some bus, the car came and she was not there. Are you ready? She was still, he sat and left. Leaving her there. Because you say 8 o'clock is ready, it has to be ready. She was late, it was not my problem. So she has to take this bus, that bus, ultimately. This is truth. He's still there. My cousin is still there. So strict. And then she wrote a letter to my father, says, "Uncle, how did you bring this guy with all this?" So this is, I don't know how it came. But anyway, one has to understand with what I have, something beyond what it is. So sin comes in terms of, we are talking about registration fee, is when somebody gives, when I don't want it and say they force me, then if I throw it, it's not my sin. It is their sin. But if I take it and throw it, then it's a sin, according to Upanishad also. So next time you should charge everybody a fee. Everybody a fee, says this is a returnable fee. It's a free, but we are charging you for registration. If you show up, then you don't have to pay. If you don't show up, then it won't be returned. Maybe that may be a good policy. Actually, it says, I think my wife was suggesting, because Memorial Day weekend, people will not be coming, because 3-day weekend, everybody will be getting guests. Maybe you should shift from 3-day weekend to a 2-day weekend, and maybe we'll ask, how many people will come if it is a 2-day weekend? Wow. Oh, maybe it's okay, maybe we should switch. Next time, we'll have 1 week before Memorial Day. So we'll have Saturday, Sunday. Maybe as a tradition, we are doing this for the past many years, but people get guests. I said, bring your guests also, but it's not that possible. But anyway, because yesterday 35 people who registered didn't show up, it seems. So one has to be careful. So point here is using mind, using the world, using what you have to see beyond what it is. It's not that it is somewhere. It's not somewhere in heavens. It's not somewhere in the temples. It's not somewhere, it is temple also. Someone asked me, say, why do we need a temple if God is everywhere? If I can see God everywhere, then I don't need a temple. Because I don't see God everywhere, at least I go to temple where I can see God. So I need all that means for me to turn my attention to something higher. And that can be done if I understand the exact truth for every perception, pratibodha viditam matam, in every knowledge it is there revealed, because I am conscious of this. So every knowledge means what? I am conscious of this, I am conscious of that, I am conscious of that. That means consciousness is getting expressed in every knowledge that is taking place. So how I want to know consciousness? It is there in every knowledge. I can see. That means I am able to see because of consciousness. I am conscious of that. So that means it is turning the attention of the mind only. What happens after that? I won't be walking on the air after knowing this, nor there will be a big hollow behind me, or nothing of the sort. I won't be dropping ash, or I won't be disappearing. I can't make any of those things. All is just the same. Then what is the difference? Only understanding. What do I gain by understanding? Nothing. So nothing. I understand, if I understand only I am playing a drama of life in that drama, then you play drama. But you understand the problems of the role do not belong to you. That samsara is gone. That's the only. So, but because unless the knowledge becomes one with you, it comes and goes, it comes and goes, it comes and goes. Because in the class it comes, after the class it goes, right? Why? Because I am giving a reality for drishyam. Remember, drishyam. So when I give a reality to drishyam, then I get carried away with that reality. But if I understand it's only transactional reality, I understand it is garbage is also electrons and protons, but it's still garbage, stinky garbage. I have to throw it, even though they are electrons, protons, neutrons. I need to understand clearly what has to be. Operational is different from understanding what is behind it, because God is everywhere. God cannot be someplace and someplace not. So that need to be clear, and here it's clearly saying, myself became duality came into picture, because anyat, one says, Other than me, there is something other than me. But other than me is only a mithya that we talk about. It's not really real. It's only apparently real. So don't give the reality that's not there in that. And that becomes clear understanding of the absolute truth. Okay.
Mano bhavati bhutatma
Bhavati bhuta
taranga iva varidehe
pavanga iva varidhe
teneyamindra shrihi
Teneyamindrajalasrihi
jagati pravitanyate
Jagati pravitanyate
Mano bhavati bhutatma taranga iva varidehe teneyamindra shrihi jagati pravitanyate.
So how does this reality of plurality operates in this level? Says as long as there is a mind, individual mind, says all bhavati, everything is happening in front of you, there is a seer scene cannot be avoided. So druk drishyam, the seer eye and scene, which is called a bandham, cannot be avoided as long as the mind is there and the senses are operating. So this is why transactional world remains as long as you have body, mind, intellect. So therefore, the mind itself projecting at an individual level, mind itself projecting both I am a subject and this is an object. Because I know all the process of epistemology I just discovered, the object out there has become a thought in my mind. Without the thoughts, there is no object there. Without object, there is no thought in my mind. So thought and the object are essentially a transformation of out there to inside as a subtle. And therefore the whole Jagat now has become thoughts in my mind. Okay? So the whole world and the mind itself, the subject, object is rising in my, I know it and this is known. I am knower, this is known. Both are in the mind. All that is because of consciousness beaming, I am a knower also, this is known also. Follow now? All the whole process is. As an existence, I am existing and the thought is also existence. So existence is pervading everywhere. Consciousness is beaming through all the time. So this Satchit is always there in all that. But I am paying attention, I am different and this is different. That reality to the duality is the problem only. But plurality will still remain. So now, the illusion and a delusion, Swamiji explains this, there is an illusion and a delusion. Illusion is presence of plurality. Like a white light going through the prism and become the Vibjayar, the 7 colors are coming out. That plurality is coming as a part of, as long as this BMI prison is there. And that is part of the nature. But thinking that it is real, so illusion is there all the time, but delusion that thinking it is real, that plurality is reality, is a delusion. That's called moham. So moham will go by understanding, whereas still the plurality will still remain. So essentially, avidya, that's going to talk a little bit more, is maya comes in 2 forms. One is avarana and vikshepa sakti. Avarana is closing it, vikshepa is projecting something. Non-apprehension is avarana. Vikshepa is the projection, misapprehension. So these two come together with maya. Knowledge can only remove the ignorance part, the covering part, because you discover, right? Covering part. The vikshepa, the projection will still remain as long as the body, mind, intellect remains. Okay? So this should be clear. So here says, Mano bhavati bhutatma tarangayava varidhau. Just as the waves are rising in the ocean, so I want to stand and I went to the ocean. I want to take a bath in the ocean. And I am standing there. So why are you standing there? Because I want to take a bath in there. So why don't you do it? There are waves there. I want to wait until the waves dry down so that I can take bath. That will never happen. I had to learn how to take bath with the waves up and down, right? That's what they do in the ocean. You have to go along with the wave, up and down, along with it. Otherwise, you get drowned. In the same way, this is so in the Taranga Iva, just like the waves are rising in the ocean, every wave has a date of birth and the date of death. The small waves are swallowing the big waves, and waves is continuously going on. They are all rising in the ocean, sustained by the ocean. They go back into ocean only. Therefore, it is like everyone is like a wave coming up. And each wave thinks, I am different. Oh, the other one is swallowing me. This one is swallowing me. I am getting affected by this wave or that wave and that wave. Then where's the problem? Hey, you are not a wave. Really? Who am I? Or just forget about. First, at least think of that like Ishvara, the ocean from which you came, by which it is sustained, into which it goes back. Pray to Him for salvation. And Vedanta says, its ocean is you, wave is also you. Really? How can I be Ishvara? You are not Ishvara. You are not ocean. But if you say, I am water in the form of an ocean, I am water in the form of a wave, then it's a knowledge. Wave doesn't become an ocean. Ocean is different from wave. But ocean sustains the wave. It is supported by the ocean. It goes back into the ocean. Yet, if you ask ocean, why are you becoming like a wave? You say, what are you talking about? Waves are my glory. This is my beauty. I exist in that form. So every form and in the whole universe, if you ask Ishvara, why have you become like this? Why are you creating like this? What are you talking about? There is no creation. It's only my glory. Pasyam me yoga Ishwaram. Oh Arjuna, look at my glory, Vibhuti here. So that's why 10th chapter of Vibhuti Yoga comes before 11th chapter. I don't know if you know. 10th comes before 11, right? So 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is Vibhuti Yoga. And Krishna says, there are thousands of Vibhutis. Millions actually, I don't know how much population, but anyway, the millions of my vibhutis, they all over, but I cannot tell all that because Duryodhana is waiting for war. So I'm only going to tell you some important things. Know that that's me only. So he gives you a big list what Arjuna thinks is great, that's me only. I give a lot of examples also in that. Tejasvinam I am the Tejas in all Tejas. I am the light in all lights. I am the beauty in every beauty. Whenever you see the beauty, see that the Lord is expressing there in that form. That reminds me also one thing. So what should I do after I realize? Should I work? Should I not work? All things that people ask questions, so I am responding it. What does flower do? What does a plant do? Because my wife keeps planting and putting in beautiful flowers all over the place. She says, what does the beautiful rose will do? Rose is still a rose. It doesn't bloom into a jasmine flower. It won't come out. Rose will give you only rose flower only. But whatever it does, the beauty is expressed exquisitely there. Taking the mud out, water that you are putting, all the junk that you put in, converting into a beautiful flower that you admire and arrest your own mind there. How did it become? What made that? Man, that is alive. That's a life. Expression of God as I am the life that is expressing in that. But I want to see life. You cannot see life. But I can see life being expressed. Life itself is an action. Life expressing beautifully in that flower, in the form of beautiful flower that you admire so beautifully. Don't pluck it, just leave it there, so beautifully is there. That, the rose flower is expressing beautifully the expression of life to its best, in its own capacity, that what it can do. You say, I doesn't say, why am I not putting the jasmine flowers, why I'm putting the slame flower? It doesn't question all that. I don't know whether questions or not, but it doesn't do it. It's projecting whatever it can do the best, because that is programmed. Programmed by the Lord, because they don't have will to do something else. But a human being are not programmed completely. Although I said that everything functions are going on, we are given the intellect and will to do. Therefore, we have to ourselves work towards beautifying our life. So what does realization means? Every Mahatma, if you look at the life of Mahatma, he projects the life himself, and generations to come remembers that name. Right? That's the beautification. Many people live, many people go. Generations are being born, generations have gone. But what is left behind in the life itself? What is that I have done with my life? How I can beautify my life? Yes, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, because these are my limitations. But within the limitations, what I can do to beautify the best, so that the generations can get benefit out of it also. Not only I enjoy in the process, because the very doing itself is the fulfilling of life itself, but in the process others also get benefit out of it. That is what a realized master. That's why he called Loka Kalyanam. Whatever he does, even if he sits in one place, people go to him to get salvation. If he is not talking, even silence, they'd like to understand what he's saying in the silence. That's why Ramana Maharshi, a lot of people just went there and said, what is he talking? He's not doing anything, let's go out. But those who can understand the language of silence only could remain there. But for that I need to understand how to understand that also. So therefore, what I am going to do? Nothing. Do the best whatever you are doing, to the degree that you can. If you are a dancer, do the best dancing. Singer, whatever that you can express yourself beautifully, that beautify itself, the life becomes so beautiful in that. That's what essentially, what a realization should give in, as whatever you are doing, the best should come out of it. That becomes really a devoted action also. So, nothing is going to change, but understanding should be there, and that's essentially Mano Bhavati Bhutatma Tarangayo Varido. So, the wave doesn't have to do anything. It has to understand, I am the water in this form, and also I am water in the ocean that is supporting this wave also. I am in the other waves also. Also has to be recognized. Then all problems, it becomes Vaibhavam. So a realized person sees the whole world as Vibhuti only, where the glory of the Lord or glory of the self becomes expressed in so. So as you go from Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara, there are three: individual, the total and the world. They condense into the Jnana Yoga, where there is Atma and Anatma, the self and not self. Everything is not self is Mithya, and self is only Satyam. That binary format has to come with understanding only. Okay.
Avidya samsrutir mohaha.
Avidya samsrutir mohaha.
Bandho maya malam tamaha.
Bandho maya malam tamaha.
Iti namani tasyascha.
Iti namani tasyascha.
Kalpitani bhavantihi.
Kalpitani bhavantihi.
Avidya samsrutir mohaha. Bandho maya malam tamaha. Iti namani tasyascha. Kalpitani bhavanti.
So all this process of how this occurred, one becoming a many and many becoming into one and one becoming many again, says, what is that? What's the cause for it? How do you explain all that? And here the words are being used And different types of words are used here. And these are the words avidya, avidya, samsruti, moha, bandha, maya, malam, tamaha. These are the words that are being used to describe this. So avidya is ignorance. So ignorance is the root cause for creation. Now question, who has the ignorance? Brahman has the ignorance, I have the ignorance. These are the questions analyzed. Who has the ignorance? If Brahman has ignorance, he cannot be Brahman. He is pure consciousness. The Brahman cannot have ignorance. If I say I have ignorance, but you say I am the product of ignorance, because I am born because of ignorance, because that's how the karma has become a born. So I am product of ignorance. So how can I be ignorance? Ignorance was there before I am created. Right? So who has the ignorance? How do you answer these questions? One question is, which is beginning here? Now tell me, is chicken came first or egg came first? If you can answer that question, I will answer that. Because if for chicken you need egg, and it's the egg that came from the chicken only. So which is the beginning in this? Seed came first or tree came first? Which came first? Because seed is a cause, root cause for the tree, and tree is the one that gives you seeds, that is cause for the next tree. So this becomes a cyclic process, and you cannot say which is the beginning or which is this next. Cause and effect relationship cannot be attributed, and therefore it is anirvachaniyam, inexplicable. The source for it cannot be explained. Because any explanation looks for logical reason. When in the circular arguments there is no question of logic here, it's beyond the logic. And all I can say is avidya, maya. So in physics, as you know, give simple example is, remember this plate? This plate is here, right? This plate is stable here. And the shape is positioned here. If it moves that place, from here to there, so how did it move? So you pushed it. Right? That's what you do. That means there is a force applied for moving a position which is stable here, which is stationary, to that place. Yeah, I don't see any force. Why do you say there is a force? That's how the explanation is. Why is apple falling down, right? You didn't say any force there. But I deduce there must be a force that cause movement of that which is stationary to one place to another place. Otherwise it doesn't move. Even though I cannot see the force. By deduction, I have to infer there must be a cause, that force that propelled one to become many. Why does one become many? That is called Maya. Parameshwara Shakti. Who has that force? There has to be locus. Parameshwara Shakti is the one that propelled one to become Maya. Just as one mind sleeping on the bed projecting many in the dream. There is a force that is called Nidra Shakti. In the Nidra Shakti, what happened? It covered. What did it cover? It covered that I am sleeping in the air-conditioned room, on the bed. It covered that knowledge. And when it projected, I am in the forest running. Remember that example? So it is avarana, covering the truth of myself, that I am sleeping on the bed, and projecting the plurality. Those two are happening simultaneously. And the same way, Maya Shakti is the one is becoming many. Who has the Maya? Who is the locus? Parameshwara Shakti. Let's put Parameshwara, that who has the Maya, that he is the one who is projecting all that. Remember, who has the Nidra Shakti? The one who is sleeping on the bed. That mind, total mind, is having that Nidra Shakti to project all this plurality. From the point of one who is inside the dream and looking at, say, How did I create it? Where is that? And all that question is, who has that ignorance or who is sleeping? If you ask, he says, you only. So, one who is questioning who has the ignorance is the one who is ignorant. Because if he knows, then he won't ask that question. So someone asks, who realizes then? The one who is asking the question. Because I, who think I am only Jiva, has to realize I am not this Jiva. Aham Jivasmi has to go into Aham Brahmasmi. Aham is the same. Only what I think is different, that's all. So therefore, it's the words avidya, samsruti, is a transmigration of the souls, and moham, the delusion that what I see is real, and bandha, bondage, that I am bound. Maya is essentially, Maya is ma sa mayati, that which is not really there but appears to be there. Malam, the impurity. Tamaha, darkness or ignorance. Iti namani, these words are used. Tasya ascha kalpitani bhavantihi. These are created words to explain that which cannot be explained otherwise. Okay? Okay, go ahead. Next.
Yata kataka shabdartah
Yatha kataka sabdarthaha
prutaktvārho na kanchanāt
prutak varho na kanchana
na hema katakāt tadvat
ahima kataka
jagat shabdartata pare
sabdartata pari
yata kataka shabdartah पृथक्वार्हो न काञ्चनात् न हेमकटकात् तद्वत् जगच्छब्दार्थता परे.
Here he is giving the example of what I've been talking about, the gold and the ornaments. And this is coming from the scripture. It comes originally from the Chandogya Upanishad. So, yata kataka sabdartaha pratakva arhana kanchanat. So, the gold has appearing now in the form of a ring. Now, is ring created or not? That's the question, right? So, what do? I look at the ring. I look at the ring and says, this is a ring. So, first I recognize this is a ring. Then I go into details. What exactly is the ring? And if I look at the ring closely, it is nothing but gold. So, I say gold has become a ring here. So, every part of the ring is nothing but the gold. So, it is gold only in the form of a ring. I say gold has become a ring. Lord, it has created this universe. There is an application there. But is it really ring? Is it really creation? If I go next time, analyze, he says it's not really, it's only gold. Why am I unnecessarily saying that gold has become something? It's only gold. There is no really ring. What is there is only gold? Now follow the logic now. I am looking at the ring, using the ring, and say it is not a ring. While using it, I say, I am an ungrateful fellow, right? Say, I am using a ring, utilizing and using, at the same time there is no ring there, and that becomes an understanding. Okay? So neither I can call it gold has become a ring or ring is really a form of gold. All are only for a transactional purposes. So everything becomes pratakva. These divisions about whether I differentiate ring from the gold or gold from the ring, either way, it's all only for transactional you can do it, but understand all are is only at the mental level, not in real level. So therefore, naheva kataka tadvad, jagat Sabdartadeptapari. There is no really real word there. Jagat is word. I'm transacting with the world, remaining in the world, and say there is no really world. How do I say? From under what is there is only existent in different forms. Beautify in these forms. That's why Krishna says, Natamastani bhutani. There are no beings in here. What is there? I am the one pervading the whole thing. And Mayatadamidam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina. I am pervading the whole universe in unmanifested form. Any manifestations are only appearances. But the truth is, I am unmanifest. And therefore, there are no really beings anywhere. While looking at the beings and teaching to another being, right? Krishna is teaching to Arjuna. At the same time, he says there are no beings. So, this contradiction is only from the point of from what reference this is being made. From the gold point, there are no ornaments. From the Arna point, there appears to be, I am a ring, is a necklace, this is that and all that. So, I can still transactionally use it, differences, but understand the oneness that pervades the divisions. And that's essentially the Jagat Shabdam. The world also is the same way. The individual, Drusyam, and the druk, the seer and the seen. Duality is only in the creation of the mind, but I am the one that pervades as existent as a druk and existence as a drusyam. Druk is the seer and the seen, and I am consciousness, and this is in my consciousness, even drusyam, therefore I am conscious of drusyam. Both are in me, and I am that beyond all these names and forms. And that becomes a clear understanding. What's the signal? The lunch ready or not ready? They're still waiting? Can you get what is the abreast information so that we can continue? Or?
We'll continue.
Okay, go ahead and read. Right, very strong medication you need in between gaps, otherwise people will go to sleep. Do here, do that side, he says, because he's talking about same gold and same dream state, same ring. After 1 hour also it's the same ring and same gold and same this one. What's the big difference? Gold is not a ring, ring is not a gold. And otherwise rope and snake, right? Because we're looking at only examples. Examples only, what can I example? Because this is what the scriptural example, not my example, this is scriptural examples. You can only talk about scriptural examples. But understanding is that to understand the truth. Oh, I understood. Understood what? Understood. When you understand means, scripture says, this is also scripture. If I understood, you are not understood. This is a scripture statement, means. Because that's what in the Kenopanishad, those who say, oh, understand it not. So when the student after teaching says, I understand, then says, that means you understand. Not that I don't understand it. Oh, I understand it, but at the same time I don't understand it. This wagoning is because it's not something to express it. At the same time he understood. But it's not understanding as a thought, but understanding as a fact. Now, how do you express it? Any expression becomes a failure. Now, Swamiji gives the example of electric yoga. You remember electric yoga? If electric yoga, say somebody got a shock. So, what is a shock? When you touch electricity, you get a shock. So, how do you get a shock? How do you describe shock? So, how do you describe shock? Oh, it is something, oh, bah. Say, no, I can't understand. What, oh, bah is not a shock. So, what do? Come here. You remember that, remove the bulb, put your finger there. That's called electric yoga. Yoga is yoking your mind or yoking your finger into that slot. I don't see any electricity there. Yeah, put your finger there. You don't see it, you put a finger there. All the mantras will come out now, ha, who, and all that. Now explain to me what is shock. All you can, ha, who. Who is ahamannam, ahamannam, ahamannam. You say the scripture, the realized person sings with the glory. I don't know, he could not contain. And he goes on singing glory. He says, what is that? I am Annam, I am Annam. Because Annam is not ready there yet. I am Annam, I am Annam, I am Ahamannam, Ahamannam, Ahamannam. Are you Annam? Are you food? No, I am Annadau, I am Annadau, I am Annadau. There's all that is there. If you know Taittiriya Upanishad, if you really sing properly, with the proper intonations, you will be wondering that is the song of a realized master. So Swami Tejomayana said, just in case if you realize, memorize that song so that you can also sing that song. Sing that song in the realization. So that glory of the singing, because no words can express that. So if you ask, what is it like? What is it like? So you also experience. There is nothing much. Because electric, that's why electric yoga is important. You have to experience to know what exactly is that. Then you also sing the same aha hu mantras also. So that realization should be something that you will understand only when it is. But at the same time, it's not the something beyond that I had to do something in order to do it. Just as you see a ring, you have to see what is there, veil transacting in the word itself. That becomes. Then why do I have to go at some place to sit and do it? Because your mind is getting unnecessarily disturbed. You try to minimize so that you can see this. Because mind, when it is disturbed, it is always in this locality. You have to turn the mind to higher, purify the mind. A calm mind only can learn anything. Whether you want to learn serious physics or serious chemistry, you don't want any disturbance. You want to sit in one place quietly and study. Why do I need physics or to learn all that? Newton's law is still Newton's law, irrespective in a noisy place also. But for my mind to absorb it, I need to have a calm, quiet place. The same way, I need to have calm, quiet place where mind can look at without getting carried away with the thoughts. What's the story there? So it's not there. Anyway, let's read the next sloka. Not 10 minutes? Okay, go ahead.
Yatankurontarbijasya
यथाङ्कुरोऽन्तर्बीजस्य
संस्थितो देशकालतः
संस्थितो देशकालतः
तनोति भासुरं देहं
तनोति भासुरं देहं
तनोत्येवं हि दृश्यधीः
तनोत्येवं हि दृश्यधीः
यताङ्कुरोऽन्तर्बीजस्य संस्थितो देशकालतः तनोति भासुरं देहं तनोत्येवं हि दृश्यधीः.
In the Chandogya Upanishad, in the 6th chapter, Sadvidya, that we took also here, one of the Memorial Day weekend camps, and the things are available. The teacher, father is a teacher, Uddalaka is a teacher, student is Swetaketu. So after teaching Tattvamasi, the student wants to know more and more because he needs to establish. He said, look at the banyan tree, the big banyan tree, it's going very big. Bring some seed there. So banyan tree has very small seeds. So he brings that. So what do you see? I see only seed. It's a very small seed, and that whole tree came from that. He says, cut that seed. So he cut it. What do you see? Nothing. He said, there is small ankuram, there may be small, sprout like small thing. Now, the whole thing, you say there is nothing really, the whole thing is there in unmanifested form. It is same when you put properly, when you put proper water and the land and all those things, proper conducive environment is there, it is going to become such a big, huge tree. So the bijam, the seed is there in which everything is compressed into it as though in unmanifested form. Yatha ankuro antar bijasya sthidohi desakalataha. Desham, time, space, everything is packed in that form, in that unmanifested form. And when it is properly, it glorifies everything, expresses itself in all the beauty itself. Therefore, tanoti basuram deham tenotyeham hi drusyadhihi. So that which is splendid out, the whole creation is beautiful coming out, that is hidden in that bijam itself, in the seed. but which I cannot see. It is because in unmanifested form. But for it to express a proper environment, conducive to express those vasanas into that glory, has to be there. So time, space, desham, kalam are there just in your deep sleep state when all this space and time has gone in. It's an unmanifested. But as soon as I get up, everything is coming out. First thing, I am, and this world. And first thought and the second thought, and the time comes. You know, in the Bible, it says, sun was created in the third day. I don't know if you know, the Bible says that. How did they know third day without a sun? Somebody will ask. Because sun was there, has to be there to have first day, second day. How did they know third day to have without sun was created only third day? And Swami Chinmayananda explained this, sun stands for time. And time is the third in the sequence of creation. So you need to have a one thought and a second thought. Then concept of time comes because the time is a gap between two sequential events. That's what Einstein said, right? Everybody knows, right? Between tak, tak, there's a gap between the two. So a gap between two, so you had to have two sequential events in order to define a time, but you forget one thing. He also said that you have to observe two sequential events. So there is somebody else is there now. Besides the events, there is an observer observing event 1 and observing event 2. Observer should not change. Observer should be the same, event should be changing. Right? Observer should be constant. If one fellow observes one and he goes away, second fellow observes second and he goes away, then there is no time. We cannot see time. So someone asked in yesterday, I think, there's a Chanika Vidyana of the Buddhism. So he says, I observe this and he goes away. Second fellow observes this, he goes away. But who will know that there is a Chanika Vidyana? Somebody has to observe all these things are going away and coming. That consciousness cannot change. So therefore, a conscious entity has to be there to observe event 1 and event 2 to define time. A definition is, it is sequential events are taking place, observations are taking place, which Vedanta calls sequential experiences are taking place. If I have only one experience, there cannot be a time. So when I have only one experience, I lose the time. Some people will know when they are reading completely some novel, something, they get lost the time. Oh my God, it's already 4 o'clock. I have to go somewhere. What happened? Because I'm so involved in that experience, it became an experience and I lose the time. And in the deep sleep state, I have only one experience of absence of everything. Therefore, there is no event 1 and event 2, object observation 2 is not there. And therefore, there is only one experience of absence of everything where there is no differentiation of any objects in the deep sleep state. And therefore, for me, it's just one experience in that layam, in the same way in the pralayam also. When the Brahmaji sleeps, it's the same thing. So when does the time arises? Only I have two sequential events that has to take place, then the concept of time comes into picture. The cause, effect, then I have a time. Okay? So desham, kalam are related in terms of events now, and kalam comes as a third in the experiences wise, third in that. And how comes space? Because remember in the modern science, space and time are interrelated. Right? So, how does space related? Yesterday I told you space is simultaneous observation of two events. I am observing two events. The gap between the two defines a space. Or movement in time is a space. Movement in space defines a time. All are related. So Desha, Kala or Parichinnam is the divisions come into picture. In the process, Vastu Parichinnam also comes into picture, where object-wise the differences comes into picture. Therefore, observations, experience, everything comes into picture. So the whole projection of Desha, Kala, the Vastu, everything comes into, in terms of projection of the whole universe itself. That becomes a creation. And so, Tanobhati Basuram Deham. So, tena atyevam hi drusyadhihi. So, there is an observer, drusyam, druk, and then observer, a conscious entity has to be there to observe all these things, either in the point of the totality or from the point of individuality, either from point of the pralayam or in the point of layam. Same process. The whole thing is essentially microcosm and a macrocosm. Same thing at a glandular scale, at an individual scale also. And understanding these two is essentially becomes a Vedanta. I know you're all hungry. Signal has come. The anahamanna, mahamanna, the ahamanna. So I'm eater of the food also comes into picture. So let's do Purnamadha, Purnavidam. No, this is, what was the?
Brahmarpanam.
Brahmarpanam. So let's do Brahmarpanam and we'll have a food also.